So let's get right to it. Chucky is back, but now we get the bad news with Dawn. Now, I'm a little mixed on Dawn. Usually when a horror creator goes back to the thing they created, I celebrate, whether it's Clive Barker, Wes Craven, John Carpenter, you go through this. However, times change. So Dawn did create Chucky. However, I'm going to tell you the truth right now, to get it out of the way, that his idea of Chucky was very radically different from the film. So he is promising we're going to go back to Child's Play 1 and 2. Now, my thing with Chucky has been mainly the trilogy. I did see technically Child's Play 4, The Bride of the Chuck, whatever that thing is. But after that, I've kind of gone back and forth on Chucky. I do like the original. It is very scary. Those are very powerful, scary films. So if you have a weak stomach, do not watch the Child's Play films.
Wow, this was really, really good.
That's it. I guess I've heard good things. My brother saw the TV series, and he's like, "Oh, it was really good. It's really, really good." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." So clearly, some of the Chucky fans have been very pleased with how Dawn has treated Chucky. However, my thing is like, Dawn is a little bit of a flip of the coin. He is a good writer and creator, right? He made Chucky. However, as a director, I've not heard anyone say he's really a great director. So we're kind of going back and forth on how good the film will be now. It will at least be a return to form. So at least some of the horror and intensity of the first early films will be back. But will they be good films? That is a little bit more unclear. I would assume the obvious that Brad is going to do the voice again. He's gotten up there. He's really, really old. But he seems to still like doing the characters. So at least the elements that made Child's Play so iconic and powerful will return. Apparently the voodoo story, which is critical to the mythology, Don is like, yeah, I didn't like that. Don did not want that. He wanted that gone, actually. So there are apparently uncut scenes. There are apparently cut scenes where they get into more of the voodoo element, which I thought, oh, that's interesting. And Don didn't like that stuff. So I'm a little worried that this reimagining, this reboot of Chucky will go a little bit too far. So I'm a little bit worried where they're going to go with Chucky. That said, good news. We are getting Child's Play theatrically again. That's good. It's been a while since we've seen a lot of these icons. Jason, Freddy on the big screen. So I'm more of a Jason, Freddy guy, but Chucky's a very powerful icon. That said, that was the 80s, late 80s. We're going to see if they can recreate the magic. At this point, it's unclear. It's unclear. And now let's move on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So what's going on with our Mr. Leatherface? Well, apparently A24 has, yes, officially committed to making a movie. There's a TV series in the work with Glenn Powell. So it's a part of that project or a different thing. Are they going to be part of the same universe? I don't know. I'm a little bit unclear. So on the one hand, A24 has a very track record. On the one hand, A24 has a very good track record overall. However, mixed bag with me. I've not enjoyed most of the Ari Aster films. Billy Eddington is the only film I really liked. But I do respect what he did with Midsommar, although a very mixed bag. So they do hire talented people. Some of these films are very scary. I don't think Hereditary was scary to me, but some people think it's the best horror film. Some people think it's the only horror film ever, for reasons. So, on the one hand, it will be a high-quality film. Whatever they do it very well. But what they do is not for everyone. And it can't be said that people are like, well, it's a very indie auteur. No, they do mainstream things, right? A24 is trying to do something very close to Blumhouse. But Blumhouse is a little too corporate. So A24 seems like a nice middle ground where they do some experimental things and they do mainstream things. So what's the problem? Well, they're calling this a reimagining. So this is not straightforward update. And again, I'm a little bit torn here. I'm not a hardcore Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan. I saw the Jessica Biel version. It was what it was. It was a fine little fun film. Clearly it wasn't really meant to be a Texas Chainsaw film. It was just a reboot they did for money. I also saw the recent other reboot, remake, whatever that was, and that was terrible. So I'm a little torn. I'm not a hardcore fan enough to get angry. So I want to look at the original Texas Chainsaw stuff just to get a better measuring rod. But it seems they're slyly saying, we're not going to do that. Right. So I'm a little torn here. Again, I don't know the director that well, so I'm drawing a blank slate. That said, A24 does have a good reputation. And I do like that they're constantly trying to do something with horror in a new way. But when you say that word, reimagining, I get very frightened. I get very frightened. So I looked at some videos by people who know Texas Chainsaw Massacre much better, know this director much better. They're giving this a very big vote of confidence. But see, even there, they were like, okay, visually, in terms of pure cinema, the storytelling will be really strong. But will it be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from the 1980s and the 1970s? That is a real question. And the answer is probably not. Because unfortunately, and again, I'm looking more at the Blumhouse stuff, but the recent attempts, whether Exorcist Believer, the Halloween films, but even A24 has done some of this stuff, kind of trying to go past and reimagine things to bring it back up to the modern day, has been, it's been all over the place. That said, someone who's going to have to do it. I think Glenn Powell is a very good actor. He's now getting into the production side. So a lot of things here are very positive. So I don't want to be all negative. That said, this thing looks like it's going to be more of a Curry film, which could be good, but may have nothing to do with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But again, I'm not a hardcore fan, so I'm not clear if I should be that worried. Because again, if I see it, I'll be like, oh, that doesn't seem so bad. But the more hardcore fans, oh no, that's terrible. That completely violates mythology, right? And again, there is a trend now with a lot of recent horror, which is to up the disgust factor, right? With The Mummy. Again, I'm not going to do a spoiler review, but there's just a lot of blood, just showing a lot of things. And from what I understand, Texas Chainsaw Massacre for a long time didn't go down that route. That's why a lot of people love it and give it a lot of exceptional praise. It's a very strange horror film. But I've not seen the original, but I keep hearing about it. I've read about it, read books and articles about it, but not seen the actual thing. So I'm going to buckle down and give it a chance. So it's kind of like, But a lot of people are giving this a real shot. They're saying, I'm optimistic. I need to learn a little bit more. I'm just giving the update, and my gut feeling is kind of negative. But A24 does have a good reputation. So I'm like, I'm torn. This could be a really good film. Not a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, but a good film. And there we go.